Welcome to Huffington Post. My name is Theo, Randall, and this is my recipe for the weekend. Now this recipe is a traditional Italian pasta dish called the Rotolo di Spinaci. It's basically a pasta roll with spinach and ricotta, and there's a little bit of seasoning of marjoram and parmesan. And then we're going to make what I actually made, a tomato sauce, basically some garlic, olive oil, some passata tomatoes, and just reduced it by half. So a lovely sort of sweet tomato sauce. And then I've got this pasta here. Now, I'm not going to make the pasta, I've got the pasta rolled out. So this is 2 sheets of pasta. Now you can actually buy pasta rolled out these days, so, but it's worth making your own. But that's another day. So anyway, let's just get some water. It's very important when you have rolled out pasta is to keep it damp. If it's too dry, particularly for this dish, it's going to crack. So we want to keep our pasta nice and moist. And what we've got here, we've got some spinach and some ricotta. So we're going to make the filling first. So we get our marjoram. So just going to chop up some marjoram here. Now marjoram's a lovely herb. It's quite aromatic herb. You can use oregano, but try and use either or. Dried oregano is fine as long as it's really fresh, as long as it's sort of good quality. Okay, so we've got our ricotta cheese. We've got some marjoram, and get our spinach. Now it's just been blanched, this spinach. Now if you can see, there's got the stalks on. When you cook spinach, it's very important to leave the stalks on, or as much of the stalk on, because that's where a lot of the flavour, the very sweetness of the spinach is. So if you take the stalks off, it tends to be kind of a bit slimy and not so nice, and it loses its structure. So just blanch the spinach and let it cool down in a colander. Don't wash it in cold water and don't wring it out, because if you wring it out, you're going to lose all that lovely greenness and all the flavour. So just sort of pat it down in the colander until all the most of the water comes out. We're going to pop it all into this big bowl. So marjoram ricotta goes in, and then our spinach, and then we just mix that all together. So that kind of lovely, slightly soft spinach mixes in with the ricotta. Now it's very important you season it, because we're going to boil this in some water, so we're going to lose quite a lot of seasoning. So make sure it's really nicely seasoned. Plenty of pepper and a little bit of parmesan. So get a nice chunk of parmesan, and then just grate the parmesan cheese. Fresh parmesan in with the filling, and that's like a seasoning, you know, that sort of slightly salty, sweet parmesan will really season that spinach. So be careful on the salt, how much you use, but it has to be really tasty. Okay, so that's our filling. Now let's get our pasta. So I'll put the pasta on here, just turn the board over. Nice clean tea towel. And then pop the sheets of pasta on top. And then with this water spray, or just get a bowl and some water, just do a little kind of run of water on the bottom so you can stick the 2 sheets of pasta together. So, okay, and I'm just going to give it a little spray of water just to sort of soften it up. It's starting to dry out. So a little bit of water on there. And then just get your filling, and then just pop it in the middle. Get all those bits out of the bowl. And then using a knife or a palette knife, just push down and move that filling all over the sheet of pasta. Okay, so when you've got a nice even layer, just trim up pasta edges. Then what we're going to do now is we're going to start rolling it up. Now when you use a tea towel, don't use a brand new blue or green or coloured tea towel. Use one that you've washed a few times. There's no dye in there. So a white tea towel is best, or one of these ones that have been washed a long time, because I once made one of these and it turned out blue, so just beware. Okay, so get the edge, the lip of the pasta, and then roll it over and just form an edge like so, and then lift the pasta up and roll it on to the other layer. So you end up with this lovely pasta roll, and then get some water and just for the edge, and then just roll it over, and then you've got a lovely pasta roll. And then bring it over and then roll it back, so it's actually rolled inside the pasta, inside the tea towel rather. And then get some string, and we're just going to tie one end. Now leave it quite long on one end, because we can use that part of the string to pull the pasta out. So get a nice long piece, and then you can do it how you want, but this is how I'd normally do it. And then just wrap the string around the pasta, just so it secures it, keeps it nice and tight. And then when you get to that end, just do the same as the beginning, nice tight end just to seal it, and then again a bit of extra longer string so you can actually hold it like that. Then we're going to pop it in the boiling water, make sure there's salt in the water. I'm going to cook this for about 10 minutes, okay? So in it goes. So it's been cooking for about 10, 12 minutes now, so I'm just going to take it out. Make sure you're draining the excess water out. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to cut the string off. Remember? And get the our pasta. So that's hot. So it's all cooked. Now it's good to let this sort of steam come off because it'll slightly dry it out. Just leave that for a second. And then we've got, as I said before, we've got a little tomato sauce, the passata, which you reduce by half. And then we've got our dish. Now what we're going to do, we're going to slice the rotolo, and then we're going to lay it flat on the dish, get a little bit of tomato sauce and some parmesan, and we're just going to pop it under the grill just to get a lovely kind of front crispiness on it. So put some olive oil in the bottom of the dish just to make it non-stick, all around the edges. And then get a knife and just start slicing nice. So you end up with these lovely slices like this, and it should be just cooked through. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop these in and quite tightly, quite tightly just pack them into this dish. So you end up with a really lovely, beautiful array of slices, and then get tomato sauce. Just check the seasoning. Needs a little bit of salt, and then a little dollop. You don't have to put this. You can just put a sage butter on top. It'd be delicious, but just gives it a nice colour and a little extra kind of flavour. That tomato and spinach goes really nice, particularly with the pasta. So just pop a little dollop on each one. So just grate plenty of parmesan all over. And then a little drizzle of olive oil on top. And then you get a few little leaves of fresh marjoram and just sprinkle that on top. And that'll really give that lovely perfume flavour. I'm just going to pop this under a grill. So just put up your grill on about 200, 250, or in a very hot oven. I'm just going to get a nice sort of bit of colour on top of the pasta. Okay, so the pasta's been under the grill for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's got a lovely sort of crust on it, so we'll just take it out. And what you want is kind of have that slight crispiness on the pasta where it's slightly firm, but that sort of tomato and the cheese is just slightly melted. And there you have a really delicious, brilliant family dish of Rotolo di Spinaci. So it's fresh pasta roll with spinach, ricotta, tomato sauce, and finished with parmesan.